beg sometimes, obtain sometimes to get
it's a
get
morning
a
of-
highest phone.
it's a morning of
So you see,
shades.
if you take it about money, say Android users do not have money. I know lots of Android users, they have money, and I know lots of iPhone users. Man, when you look at them, they don't get money.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's unfair.
Oh my God.
Wow. So what exactly is your major beef, Carl, with iOS users?
Now, for me, it's not as if it's a beef. I'm just a practical person. Like you just heard me say now. Some of them, it's obvious they do not have money. When you see some of the people using the iOS phone, it's a high-end phone, no doubt. You should be able to afford it, but I don't think you should spend your life, or rather, dedicate your life or dedicate all your savings just because I want to get it for status. So that's where my problem is.
That's where your problem is.
Yeah, most of them is just a matter of status. If you have money, we know you have money. Old money, that's those who have money, we know they have money. It's not by you displaying and trying to announce. I'm thinking if you're trying to announce to the world that you have money, it means you're not even confident of yourself. You're not sure. Your attitude, your manners, your disposition basically should speak for it. So I just think for the iOS gang, that it's matter of status. That's what they are looking at. It's not.
Ken, is it true that you guys cannot afford your phones? Is it true that you guys just buy the phone so that they can see you having a phone? Is it true that you guys often talk to Android users because they use Android? That's a very interesting question.
Well, that's not true because first of all, I'm here and I'm talking to an Android user.
Wow, it's another morning of shade.
Oh my God.
What's going on?
I think the iPhone thing, I've noticed that I think the higher percentage of iPhone users have the money to get it, and that's why they get it. It's also a priority thing. Most people I see that use iPhones are in the content creator, group.
Are you a content creator?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
And the video quality, the things that the iPhone allows you to do, the quick take shots feature.
Yeah.
It allows you to quickly switch from photo to video.
Wow.
There's this live.
And you think Android users don't have that?
No.
Whoa,
you see?
Wow. Okay, all right. No, continue, please. I'm listening to this.
There's this live feature where you can take a picture and then you long press on it and you see a video, like a short clip. Yeah, so if you're doing BTS and some other video things, it helps you to see like different video, whatever that you did not think to capture.
Templates and
Okay,
formats.
so let me ask you, all right, as an honest individual, I like to believe you're honest, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you were to go out on a date and the young man, brings out his Android phone and puts on the table, what would be your natural reaction?
An Android phone. It depends on I don't know.
Oh, it depends on the Android phone.
Yes, it depends on if it's a Samsung, what year is it?
But if it was an iPhone, doesn't matter what model, you'll be pleased.
No, it matters.
Okay, all right. well, we'll come back. We'll continue this morning because it's just a small problem.
Nigeria Info. Right back after this.
And it's my job to give you information concerning this little old thing about what your device can and maybe be speaking of you. Now, let's start with the basics, all right? Now, the most popular devices these days in terms of software are the Android and the iOS users, all right? So let's start this way. Now, by market value, right, Android has the larger market, right? Overall, about 55 to 45%. In some markets, it's higher. Now, in North America, that's US and Canada, right? You have more people who favor iOS, right? And then in other parts of the world, and there's a very interesting map here, all right? In other parts of the world, it is Android. In China, it is Android. In Africa, in fact, there's only one African country where they buy iOS more than Android. In South America, it's Android. In Russia, it's Android. Everybody uses Android. So these are the countries that use iOS the more. So America, Canada, you have Australia, and the Great Britain Isles, and when I say the British Isles, England, Wales, and the rest. And then some parts of the EU also favor iOS. Now, what does this tell us? Now, the data in front of me says that Android users are usually the more exuberant spenders. They spend more. They spend more on their devices. They spend more on feeding. They spend more on makeup. They actually spend more on clothes. That's iPhone users, right? iOS users also travel more. In fact, on average, the stats show that more iOS users have traveled to 3 or more countries. Interestingly, you have Android users who have never left their country. Android users are usually lower income individuals. They are more likely to save money, right, than iOS users who spend 28% more on every other product than Android users. It gets even more interesting. Now, the Android users, right, they perceive their devices as not being as secure as iOS users, who perceive their devices as more superior than Android users. Then let's come to daily lives, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the personalities of people who use these phones, iOS lovers, research has shown that some Android users are kinder, gentler, more empathetic, and interestingly, more disposed to sacrifice than iOS users. iOS users are snobbish, obnoxious. They've been known to be callous, self-centered. They've been known to be stingy, self-serving, and more emotionally susceptible. So if the iOS user doesn't have his device with him, they're panicking. Oh my God, the rain fell. Joe, oh my God, LOL, oh, smashes. But the Gen Z slang. The Android user, on the other hand, is more composed. Please, Jude is not saying this. It is a report in front of me. Now, if you don't believe this report, I'm sure you probably will believe reports from the New York Post. This was back in 2018. 2018. Now, let me read this line for you. Now, iPhone users clearly value optimal tech experience. They spend, at that time, $101 a month on tech-related purchases. How many of you have noticed that iPhone users will buy iPhone watch, iPhone headset, iPhone lipstick, iPhone belt? Anything that has an Apple on top of it, they would buy. Yeah. So the question is your device controlling you or you controlling your device? Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to open the phone lines very shortly, and we ask you to wade in onto this conversation. We are ably represented by Team iPhone and Team Android. They have both told us what they think is the benefit of their phone and how they perceive the others. The question is, how do you perceive yourself as a user?
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeria Info FM. Nigeria Info, let's talk.
So the numbers to call 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0007. Once again, 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-ZH at Nigeria Info PH. WhatsApp were 0809 030 6416, 0809 030 6416. As always, please turn down the volume of your radio set when you call. Let's get to speak to our resident iOS user, Kenny. Kenny, how do you take this report that iPhone users are usually snobbish, rude, they're spendthrift, but they are also adventurous as well.
So I take that part. I take the traveling part as well.
Okay.
Like I said, content creation. Most iPhone users that I know love creating content. They love, taking pictures. Maybe they buy more clothes because when they open their camera, they love what they see and they want to continue seeing more things.
Maybe they're vain.
Vain?
I'm just asking because.
Well, love your neighbors. You love yourself. It's good to love yourself.
But they apparently love their phones more than they love other people.
But when they open the other people.
Yeah, the report says they're more likely to ignore the next person, who doesn't use the same device that they do.
Well, that's not me.
Well, that's not. Well, obviously, it's not going to be everybody.
Yes.
It's not going to be everybody. But
that's sad. It's possible. But it's sad. It's not true. It can't be true now.
But the research, it's not me. It's the research. It's not me. But anyway, let me read this first message. This is from Arcelia. Arcelia says, "Hi Jude. When you talk about iPhone and Android, hope Samsung phones are not muddled up in this comparison." Samsung is the chief Android market right now, apart from Google. All right, I'm a fan of Samsung. All right, I'm yet to be convinced as to why I should abandon a Samsung for an iPhone. Arcelia says, "Point man."
So
You have more empathy. The Android users are more empathetic. They are more savvy with their money. They save more. 28% save more. And they are also more flexible. iOS users are. They are the ones who have, alphabets to their names. They're the ones that probably say save the crickets and let's not eat the crickets because it's a very interesting.
Like you say, the research doesn't necessarily apply to everyone. Like you just said, 20% of maybe perhaps Android users would, should I say, maybe be conservative of all that, and go on the iOS route because they can't afford it. But yes, you have those Android users who are only just looking at functionality, practicality. That's what you're looking at, nothing more. Now, I would say consumer behavior has changed since maybe the Post report of 2018, and also apart from consumer behavior changing, the products have also changed. No doubt, at a certain point in time, for the iOS, like Kenny pointed out, for bloggers and for people, those were the go-to devices because of their quality. But guess what? Just like the WhatsApp message you read not too long ago, the Android users have upped their game. Android is the cheapest and most available. But guess what? They are high-end. So we have those mid-range, but they also have high-end Android products, which can match. I heard that earlier on, mention some of the features you could get, using iPhones. But do you know you could get almost that now with Android? It's a competition. When they see perhaps that this has this, the iOS got this, Android now looks for a way to actually also improve. To get it. So it's a competition. So what you can get there, you can get on a high end. Do you know there are Android phones that cost you 1 million naira? Android.
2 million actually.
2 million. Yes. That cost you 2 million. Tell me why you're going to spend 2 million on that phone.
In fact, there's 2.5 million. I think that's the Google Pixel Pro XL.
No. So see why you're going for it. Here's the reason why you're supposed to spend 2 million, because of its capability and functionality. So guess what? Android caters for the low end users, but it also has what can match, the Android use and iPhone users when it comes to high end stuff. Anyways, for me, like I say, it's more of practicality, functionality. What do I need it for? Am I going to use for pictures? I'll tell you that maybe sometimes for a phone, 105 MP as megapixels, or even 135 megapixels. I think that's enough.
Yeah, but whilst that may be enough, as a tech person myself, I can tell you that some of the iOS devices have even better pictures which has to do with filters, has to do with how the lens, how the programming. So let's hear from you, right? 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003, 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003. All right, at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH. Now, WhatsApp is 0809-030-6416. 90.3 Nigeria Info. Good morning, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, my name is Weston.
Welcome.
Yeah, sir, you get what I want to ask you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we can hear you.
I played them yesterday, but they never called you.
I'm sure they will. It's 24 hours. Don't worry. It's 24 hours. They will call you. Don't worry.
Okay.
All right. Well, people don't want to play with their buddies. Obviously, every single person who has participated in the one play draw has had their winnings given to them. They call you within 24 hours and it's not going to change, not in the least. All right, so I have a message here. It's directed at you, Mr. Carl. Yeah, all right. So my friend says, okay, I didn't carry my earpiece, but she had asked, what exactly is the rep with carrying Android? Is there a rep?
Good. You see, I think that's where the problem comes. It's more about, like I say, it's a status thing. It's a symbol, a status symbol that when you carry an iOS, but when you say an Android, well, it's a device. It works. You ask the question, do you control your phone or does your phone control
you?
So someone like me, it's not, to me, it doesn't add anything to me. It's a tool. I control it. So it's a tool I could get or I could get rid of. So it's not repping anything. Do you get? That's to me.
Well, apparently your members, Gen Z people, right? They say, look, it means you're up and up.
I think this iPhone and status thing is particular in Nigeria.
Oh no, it's everywhere. Yeah. Oh yes.
They are clones, so they are clones. That's how this status thing really matters to people.
There are videos of groups in the US, right? Not talking to somebody because, you use an Android. Oh, no, I can't do that. It was a video. Random videos walking. So iOS, Android. So, no, you don't. Okay, all right. But Android is so cheap. That's a perception. But we know now that, a high-end, Android device can cost you 2 million naira, 2,000 pounds. There are Android devices right now upwards of 1,250 pounds to as much as 3,000 pounds. Huawei has a tri-folding phone. That means it doesn't open once.
Yep.
It opens 3 times. It becomes like a laptop of some sort, right? And each of these sides can be used independently of the other.
Okay.
3,000 pounds.
Well, that's cool for them, but
it's
iPhone.
It's not iPhone.
Yes, it's not iPhone. It's not flat.
I think they have been hypnotized or brainwashed, kind of.
Well, the security as well. When you're using an iPhone, when you're browsing, the ads, you barely see ads.
Okay.
Not at all.
Okay.
But if you're using an Android, you're likely to
have
ads
pop-ups.
to pop up.
I agree with security.
The app review in Apple is higher than Android's. They are so serious about it.
One way to interpret that is that with the iOS, right, you have less apps, right?
The scrutiny is
the scrutiny is more stringent. You have about 1.3 million apps available on the App Store as of the reports I have, and then about 3+ million on Android, because Android is more open-ended. So there's more flexibility. You have developers who can create, more, which is why it probably appeals, to the people everywhere. Because why would I want to spend, £100 on I don't know what you guys do on iOS these days.
iMessage.
But why would I have to pay for that when I can get it for free on Android?
Well, it just gives you this exclusivity vibe. You can call your friend on iMessage, FaceTime, play games.
Hello, we
can do that. Or can do that.
Yeah,
with your friends.
Yes, I can play games.
No iMessage.
Even as simple as Facebook, you can do all that. And should I say, even from the advent of BlackBerry, we could do all that. So instant messaging was what was being sought. And all they have just done is, should I say, like you said, an exclusive club for themselves, users on their own, on their own end. But when you are perhaps on Android, you can interact with more people than, so, okay, as exclusivity, if that's what it is for you. Security, I agree. They also, perhaps their own cloud-based security, whatever, is a bit that strong. So it's going to be a bit harder for something to slip through, if from iOS than it is on Android. But Android, they still do their best and all.
This has to be coincidence because our conversation right now is being mirrored on television.
Yeah.
Right. So here we have an Android-based platform that's Google's, Android, the Gemini. They're showcasing its new capabilities that Apple doesn't have right now.
Does it have what? The AI?
No, Apple has AI, but we're talking about real-time observation and comparison. That's what they just showed us.
Well, this is coming up. If we're talking about things coming up, the iPhone 17 is coming up, and you could video with your front camera and the back camera at the same time.
I can do it. Samsung's can do
the front and the back.
Yeah, Samsung have been doing this for a while. You see,
I wouldn't want to sell it phone, but let me just mention it. The Tecno Camon 30 could actually do that. Give you 2 videos.
Well, would it look as good as
All right, messages now. Messages. All right, so this one says, Drew, good morning. Android, don't be poor man phone again. I would forever choose a Google Pixel or Samsung S24 over an iPhone 16 Pro Max. If you want to feel among, then feel big then you buy an iPhone. But if you want to have a phone that you have the quality phone, then you have to get a Samsung. For some features that just came out in iPhone 14 had already come out in Samsung since or even before 2016. Which is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your dynamic island that you were celebrating last year has been on the Android for about 2 years prior. Yeah.
The only thing is that they might just maybe add a few twitches.
Extra
just a little.
touch. That's why we are.
So also when iOS gets something and Android is also, they also add an extra touch. So like I say, it's a competition.
It's a competition, but there's a leader. Because that little touch, it matters.
It seems as though Android.
I'll say this, for people like us who've been in the media, I've been a journalist, I've been on the streets, been on beats, and for me, these are tools that actually used to work. I once owned a BlackBerry. Now with the BlackBerry, at least instant messaging, I could get my mails, not even the pinging. I could send sound across, immediately on the go.
True,
then when we go, we do a report, we interview someone, we send it. So it was a tool that was 7. Now for Android also, it serves. And yes, because of their exclusivity, there's some certain apps you cannot find or cannot download. There's some certain things you cannot do, on an iOS based phone. You cannot do that. But Android helps us, for those of us who are field people, we can do those things on our phones.
Flexibility. 92.3, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
This is F50. I'm calling from Port Harcourt.
Welcome, please.
You see, about this iOS and the Android users, there's this thing between boys and girls, men and women, that, some of them tend to, showcase themselves based on the kind of device they are holding.
Yes.
Okay, let me take this for instance. When I was using an Android phone, you can see a beautiful girl either in a car or in a tricycle. Oh, girl, you're beautiful. I have your number. Can I call you later? Yeah, when you dip your hand in your pocket, you put your Android phone. My own is even better than this one.
Wow.
And, it begins to look like, the girl begins to.
She's not the girl for you.
But, when you dip your hand in your pocket and you bring out your iPhone 14 Pro Max, 12 Pro Max, shiny and stainless, and the girl look at it, this guy is using this big phone. Or me, I'm just using, techno.
Wow, shades, more shades.
Whatever. She's just gonna say, it looks like this guy has something. And the number before you know it. But another thing too, there is this kind of confidence that people who use these up-to-date iOS devices, there's this confidence they have when they want to talk to a girl. It's as if they are drawing their voice. But
what if an individual, male or female, has the iOS, right?
No, see, like I said, it's a competition. That is, it's like, why do you think these people they keep changing it when
the new one comes out? Yeah.
What makes you think they keep on upgrading their device? Somebody who was using iPhone 12 Pro Max, immediately iPhone 13 comes out, he goes to swap or he switch. It's a trend. It's a trend.
But Carl, let me ask you. Carl mentioned something. What does it profit a human being to have an iOS, but you are begging for airtime?
No. You see, that one is limited to certain number of people who feel like, I want to have this thing by all means. I want to show others that this thing they are, oppressing me for. I can also get it. You take all your savings, you go and break your bank just because you want to belong to the class of people who own it. That's crazy.
That's crazy. All right, so it's crazy.
Jude, a quick one. My neighbor is yabbing me, and my neighbor prayer says basically that you are sounding like the person who does not have money. That's why he says beer is bitter.
Yeah.
If you had the money, you buy the beer, but because you don't have money, don't worry, it's bitter.
Yeah, but so I can also say the same for those people and tell you that there are wines that taste sweet are very expensive as well.
Exactly.
Anyway, good morning, Jude and Co. Divine in Port Harcourt. I have no qualms with an iPhone or the iOS, but you see, I like the Android phones because of the versatility and the capacity. Since 2019, I have been using an Android that doesn't lag and can multitask with ease. So it is an Android for me. Say good morning, my brother. I can't be everywhere you go carrying charger and power bank around.
I forgot to mention that part. iOS users, it's so annoying, very annoying. What? You never have a full bar, never have full battery. But meanwhile, I bought a phone once. It was called the Pouvoir. Pouvoir means strength, and can do. I bought that phone. Why? Because that was the first 5,000 mAh phone then.
iOS users cannot relate, but I heard the new ones are going to be really powerful.
Yes. Batteries,
but it hasn't come out yet. In the future. All right, well, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap this up. So let's get to our final words this morning. How these devices are controlling people and making them react. We've heard from all the sides this morning: iOS, Android, the perceptions, the fact that a lot of the iOS devices don't have great batteries. Most of their users, and it's not just in Nigeria, most of their users abroad carry power banks everywhere. But a lot of Android, they can't relate because, they have very good power banks. Sorry, they have very good power ratings. That may change because we know that battery technology has just improved. There's something called the carbon polymer battery coming through. It's going to be on the new iOS. So we'll see how that works for them. But for our various teams this morning, final words. I'll start with you, Mr. Cole.
Yeah, to me, it's just about being practical, what works and what serves you. There are sometimes you will buy some ostentatious good. Let me use that word because it kind of like lifts your image. But to me, a phone is not one of the reasons. You will see some of all these guys who sell in Alaba markets and stuff of all those places. They have, what do we call them? Is it the
small.
The pressing phones.
Yes.
But do you know how much they are worth? Are you saying they don't have money? Well, you know what? All they're looking for is what serves their business, what's practical for them. So it's practicality for me.
All right.
Well, for me and the iOS community, I guess.
Gang.
It's the aesthetics. It's the beauty of it. Yeah.
Okay, all right. John says, good morning, my brother Jude. I use iPhone to track girls. To me, they think I have money. And they like saying you're a big boy and you can date girls that are older than you or bigger than you. It gives you levels. Clap for yourself, right?
Because that's what people fall for.
So that means most of you girls that are dating people that have let me not say anything to you. You people are broke.
They're just scrapping by. They're just